This is Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'm offensive lineman Joel Bitonio.
This is Pro Football Hall of Famer James Lofton. The Kenny and JT Show on News Talk 1480 WHBC.
All right, and welcome back to Canton's Morning News on this beautiful Monday. It's going to be a nice warm Monday. 77 for the high today, folks. Don't get too used to it, though. It's going to turn cold by the end of the week. I have been looking forward to this interview since we set it up last week, because it's been a while. It has been a while since I had a chance to sit down and talk to Michael Crawford, who is the CEO of Hall of Fame Village. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Doing well. I said off the air that I think the last time that you and I were sitting down and chatting was when your book came out.
I think you're right. I think we were up in the stadium having a chat up in one of the suites, which was fun.
Yeah, that was great. How's the book going?
They tell me it's going really well. I've never considered myself somebody that people like to listen to very much. So I was kind of surprised when I get the feedback that the book is helping folks. It's giving them, thing to think about and easy to read and some of the stuff that, I think people thought, well, is this an international book? Is it because of my experience internationally, is it a lot to do with that? And I've actually had folks come to me. I've had speaking engagements at different colleges and other places, and they'll come up and say, that lesson about cultural differences and, listening, not to respond, but listening to understand, things like that have been very meaningful for folks. So I thought it was just simple lessons, that are good reminders. So it seems to be doing well.
That's good. I think that's when we talked and I had read the book, that's kind of how I felt. There were little pieces, parts that, everybody would have something that was, different for each person that they would take away from it. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, a lot has happened or not happened maybe since the last time that we spoke. So, I kind of divided things that I want to talk about into news and good news. How about that? We'll kind of put it into those two things.
Sure.
And obviously the financing, and people are wondering about the progress of the village itself and, the water park and the hotel and all of those things. So, I know that the financing is a very complicated thing. It's layers and layers, and I'm good at math, but I'm not that good to figure all of that out. Maybe give us an update on, where all of that stands.
Sure. Well, first of all, I would tell you that it's hard for folks to understand, because when you really want something, the reasoning why you can't have it as soon as you want it doesn't really matter sometimes. And so I understand that. I do, because I really want it. I want it to be finished. We've built the core and shell of the water park. We have a lot of, if you look right next door in the parking lot, a lot of the equipment, the rides, the slides, things like that, ready to go. And the backstory on this was late last year, we had all of the capital stack identified. And when I say capital stack, it really means the different pieces of funding that's needed to build an asset. In this case, it was the water park. And as the inflationary environment escalated, a lot of banks stopped lending, and a lot of different types of funding providers started to get a little bit more cautious. And that's what happened. We had identified all the pieces, and we had a lender that was ready to go. And they called us, and I'll never forget the morning. They called us and said, too risky for us right now. We're going to have to pull out. And because all of it's interconnected, one piece doesn't fund until the other pieces are ready to fund. It stopped progress on multiple fronts. Now, since then, I will tell you, this community is amazing. You have people like Ray Hexamer and Mark Smolzik and Senator Kirk Shearing and Bob Timken and Allie and multiple folks, Allie from Visit Canton, and multiple folks that are just incredible leaders, and really want to make sure that they're doing everything they possibly can to support our efforts, because I think they're already seeing what we're seeing, which is the economic impact from the village isn't yet to come. It's already coming, right? It's already happening to the tune of millions and millions of dollars. I think folks forget we pay lots of payroll taxes. We pay lots of real estate taxes. All of the events we host where tens of thousands of people show up, and the sporting and concerts and all of these things, this year we'll have over 3 million people that will have come to this destination. And 60-70% of those are outside of our region. And so that means they're staying in a hotel someplace. They're eating meals someplace. So the economic impact is massive. And we've started to quantify that more now, really wanting to show people that this isn't something that will happen in the future. It's something that's happening right now. So what have we done? I mean, we have continued to look for different support. We were, I'll be honest, we were working with the state of Ohio, and we were working with them for several months. And frankly, out of nowhere, I got a call and they said, yeah, it's too risky. We don't want to do it. And that was really disappointing. I mean, I'll be honest, it was. After all of the progress being made with them and all of we think this is good, we want to get to a yes kind of dialogue, get the answer, hey, thanks, we're not going to participate in this. And that's not to say that the state hasn't been helpful in other ways, but it was disappointing and continues to be disappointing. The city, the county, a lot of our community foundations, as you know, have restructured some of the financing that they've provided, which has been great. It gives us a bit of a runway. Our focus now is just closing the capital that's needed for the water park and the hotel. We're working diligently with different groups to do that. I'm hopeful in the next couple of months we'll have good news to report. But in the meantime, after doing all of that work, one of our largest shareholders has come forward and said, we like what you're doing. We see where you're going. We see the vision. We've actually seen you guys still standing after COVID, supply chain, inflation, and all of the things that the world has had to face. And we like it so much, we're willing to take you private. We're willing to say, we want to get you out of the public markets because it's just ugly as a smaller company being in it's expensive. There's a lot of public scrutiny. People care about the stock price only. It's part of what's, I think, broken with our capital system in the world today. Public companies live quarter to quarter. And so sometimes they have to make decisions to make those quarterly earnings and those forecasts of those quarterly earnings. And that's not really long-term thinking. I had the honor and privilege of living in Japan, and they look at earnings over decades. We look at them from quarter to quarter. So the ability to step away from that, I think, will give us a lot of opportunity to grow. Unfortunately, we are a culture that clicks on the negative things, and we propagate that through social media. So it's a little demoralizing for our team to hear constantly that you guys aren't making progress and the stock isn't going up. Listen, we know this place isn't where people want it to be, but frankly, the isn't making progress side of it, I take real issue with, because when you look at what's happened out here over the last couple of years, and you look at the scale of events, and you look at the public and community events we put on, and you look at how many new tenants we have, we're sitting here in the Center for Excellence. We're almost 90% tenanted up in an office building, which is kind of unheard of in today's world where people are still resisting going to the office. The financing, if we go private, we're counting on that being a part of the private deal. Now, they want us to also bring what we've been doing and complete it in terms of the financing for the hotel and the water park. But I guess I'll say this, the opportunity to take the company private is a big step forward for us. It could inject a lot of capital that is needed. It could stabilize the company from an operational point of view. And more importantly, it takes the public cost and public scrutiny away to allow us to just focus on the business and allow our team to execute as they have been doing at a very high level. That's a lot, Pam, but I just want
That's okay. No, but that's a great explanation. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, so is that going to happen? Is there a timeline for that?
So we are working through right now. There's a proposal on the table that's all been made public. We are working through right now all of the steps, as you can imagine. It's a very complicated thing to take a public company back private, and it will ultimately require a shareholders vote. And I think shareholders are going to be interested in, typically a shareholder is interested in how much money do I get back? After the company goes private, they don't really have a focus on it because they can't hold interest in it, right? They can't hold a share of stock or they can't hold an ownership stake. So we're working on that with IRG and their legal team, our legal team, our financial advisors. We're deep into it. I wish I could give you a time frame. What I could tell you is once you have something like this on the table, you try to move as quickly as you can because we're still running the business. This weekend we had this phenomenal event, Boo Bash, kids, families all over the place. Lots of new fun things for them to do, rides. And, we had a train out here and we had pumpkin decorating and trick-or-treating. And yeah, it was only the 19th, but what a beautiful day. And it gets a jump on a holiday that really is getting pretty big in the context of, holidays and what people celebrate. So we were excited. We've got other things that are happening throughout the next 3 months at the destination, big things. And so, we have this focus on keep growing, keep doing better. We have a tenant deal that we're getting ready to announce that I think is going to bring a really cool food concept. And I want to talk about food as well, because we're getting ready to launch, I think, what'll be one of the really fun, interesting sports-themed restaurants in Canton and in the region. The Grill and Gastropub. But we want to get this done, if we can, as quickly as possible. I won't say it's a distraction, but it takes a lot of focus to complete the process. And then, of course, we'll have to have a shareholders meeting to have them vote on the final outcome.
And I'll throw this question out to you. I've had so many people say this, when you talk about public scrutiny, there's always the questions out there. Well, why don't they do this? Or why don't they do that? And it always seems that somebody brings up, has the NFL been approached to, invest in this, or any NFL teams? And is that even possible? So I'll ask you that. Is that something that's been thought of?
Well, it's certainly been thought of multiple times. Here's what I would say. The NFL does invest in this. The NFL every year brings major events to this destination that creates huge economic uplift for us. Great revenue, great profitability. I think people forget that the enshrinement ceremony that's been here forever, the game that gets played, the preseason kickoff game, those are massive things that they could take anywhere. And if you look at how they do the draft and they rotate it from city to city to city, they've held their commitment to Canton, Ohio. And this year was a great example of how they're expanding that. The NFL Flag Football Championships, by the way, flag football now going to be an Olympic sport. And so we've always had a ton of flag football programming out here. I mean, we have events that have thousands of kids, literally 2,000 to 3,000 participants and athletes. They brought this massive NFL flag tournament. The NFL doesn't just bring things. They don't just give charity to folks, right? And so we demonstrated our ability to execute at a high level these kinds of events. They were here for a week. ESPN, ABC were here camped out for 2 weeks. That kind of coverage, that kind of exposure for Canton, Ohio, for the Hall of Fame Village, for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, you can't buy that. And so they're not giving direct dollars. They're giving programming. They're giving support that indirectly creates economic growth and economic benefit for us as a company and for us as a city. I mean, that event, the NFL Flag Championship, literally every hotel room in this region booked for an entire week. Yeah. I mean, that's massive. Restaurants booked, shopping, other forms of entertainment. These kids want to do stuff. And so, when I have conversations with folks, I take a lot of pride in that. And I don't think the city in some instances realizes those kinds of events don't come here unless the village has been created. And all of these assets that we've built have the ability to host at a very high level. That's a massive win for us. So the NFL, look, I'm counting on them, and I've had discussions multiple times with Commissioner Goodell. He's a big supporter, but he wants to see us grow and stabilize and have success, as do we. And I think in our success, they will be here more and more.
All right. We're going to take a quick break,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and we can talk about some of the things that are coming, because there's quite a few new things that the village has on hand. So we will take a break and we'll be back. We're talking with President and CEO of Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company, Michael Crawford, right here on 1480 WHBC.
After 35 years of delivering orthopedic excellence to Northeast Ohio communities, Ortho United is proud to now offer cutting-edge orthopedic care to Summit County at our new Fairlawn campus located on Springside Drive. At Ortho United, we offer prompt access to over 34 orthopedic physicians, offering state-of-the-art treatment options with same-day appointments available. Ortho United, changing the landscape of local orthopedic care. Learn more at orthounitedohio.com.
If I was to describe this sandwich in one word, I would say magical. Hi, this is Jamore, and the little thing that I love about the Chick-fil-A honey pepper pimento chicken sandwich is that extra oomph. I go back and forth from the spicy filet to the original filet. I get into the sweetness of the honey, then you have the extra kick from the spicy filet. The combination alone takes it over the top. It's award-winning.
The Chick-fil-A Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich is back with a bite. Try it with the original or spicy filet, now for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Just how liberal could Sherrod Brown be? What are his actual votes?
Well, he backed bills to allow transgender biological males to compete in girls' sports and let transgender biological men into girls' locker rooms and girls' bathrooms.
Very liberal.
Brown supported allowing children to receive puberty blockers and even sex change surgery.
Super liberal.
And worse, Brown even voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions, a procedure where the baby is partially delivered alive. That's right. Brown's votes for partial birth abortion are in the congressional record. And Sherrod Brown voted to allow this terrible procedure, not once, not twice, but 6 different times over 8 years.
That's radical liberal.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. He's just way too liberal for Ohio.
Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Breaking and trending. Here's why you should listen. Search 1480 WHBC on Facebook.
It's just good.
Find more right now on WHBC.com.
All right, we are back on 1480 WHBC and having a great conversation with the CEO of Hall of Fame Village, Michael Crawford, and talking about just the progress and how we get there. And it is a confusing process. It is layers upon layers and upon layers of different things. Before we get to some of the really cool things that are happening that I want to ask you about. How long's it been, Michael, since you have been in Canton? How many?
So I came December of 2018. So almost 6 years.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
I know it does. So as you look back over those years, is there anything that you would have done differently? Do you think anything that you can think of?
The only thing that when I look at the going public, it was an opportunity at the time to bring in well over $100 million of equity. And I can tell you that through a series of unfortunate events, COVID being the big one, we only ended up with about $30 million. And so we didn't bring in at the beginning the equity that was needed to really start the company. We had to do a couple of raises, selling stock, and that hurt the stock price. And so I don't know that I would have done it differently because, my crystal ball is as good as anybody else's. But that was one of the more defining things where we then had to for a lot of reasons, continue to look for ways to survive. And I mean that literally, to survive. I can't say enough about how the teams fight. Everybody has really rallied. And look, when you see what we've built, and I think about how many cities that in the country or in the world that have an NFL certified football stadium, one of the largest indoor dome facilities, a mega sports complex for youth sport activation, what will be a water park, 2 hotels. I mean, this is, a Ferris wheel, a giant wheel. Not a lot of cities have those things. Canton, Ohio does. And I think maybe what I would love to do more of is get out there, and I'm not a politician, but campaign a little bit more proactively around the positives. I sometimes, and I jokingly say, I feel like I have to argue with people a lot to realize the benefits for their own community. And, we are not doing this to benefit us. We're doing this as a major opportunity for the community. Look, the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Byline Hall of Fame Village just won one of the top 10 sports destinations in the country to visit. I don't think that just happens. There are reasons. We're creating great experiences. We're creating an environment for people to feel comfortable, and it's unique to our region and specifically to Canton and Stark County. I think I would you get so buried in the day-to-day of survival. I try to lift out of that and go and talk more to people and just help them understand why this is so great for us.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We've often talked about this. I've talked to Ann Graffis about it a lot. The local people, they all have their thoughts and opinions about it, and some are excited and love it. And some are always going to be in that naysayers column, but I would venture to guess that a lot of them didn't know anything about the flag football. I met a guy at a doctor's office who I don't know how we got on the topic, but his daughter played flag football, and he was like, "What? They have what?" And and I told him about it, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to go down and watch that," and didn't know anything about it. But yeah, I think that's the campaign, the pure campaign of it.
It is, and a lot of people don't know that we built a massive football stadium that Canton McKinley gets to play in for free, and we actually pay them a lease, $300,000 a year almost. We pay them. We maintain it. They're allowed to have multiple free days in here to practice and play. That's not something every high school gets, right? We built them a $7 million football operations center for them to have the highest quality training facilities and meeting facilities. We gave the parks department several hundreds of thousands of dollars into over $1 million. I don't think people realize that, and it does get disappointing. It's a little disheartening when you read in the paper from city officials, hey, we want it to be successful, but they're on their own, Yeah. And most cities, and I've done this in multiple places around the world, they're looking for ways to support because they realize that this gives back to the community in so many ways, not just economically, but a sense of pride of having this kind of destination, the ability to create events like Boo Bash for families to come out and enjoy themselves. We do multiples of those throughout the year. So look, I think, the more positive campaigning versus we get the stock price. That's where people get so negative. Why is the stock price so bad? Well, trust me, I'm a shareholder too. I want the stock price to be as high as it can possibly be, but we're an early stage company. It takes time to build. The good news is we're shrinking the loss. If you look at the last 6 quarters, the amount of loss continues to go down, down, down. And so another year, we could be break even or even profitable for the whole area. And we have media and gaming and the destination, the village destination. So the team works really hard. And I just can't say enough about their efforts and what they've done to help us get to this point.
So let's talk food.
Yeah. Everybody loves food.
Yeah, we're going to have the new restaurant replacing Don Shula's, correct?
Yep. Gridiron Gastro Pub will open this week. And, I get asked a lot, well, why? What happened to Shula's?
Yeah.
Look, not every concept succeeds. And I think we had A partner in Shula is that this was a brand new concept. They've done a lot of things very well, although their portfolio is shrinking now. And I think the conflict between high-end steakhouse versus truly American kitchen that should serve something for everybody and have a broader, diverse menu with different price points. Have a unique lunch menu that people can go in and experience versus one menu, one size fits all. We worked a lot with Shula's. It didn't work. And so we had to make a difficult decision. Look, Coach Shula, Hall of Famer, certainly not something I wanted to close, but out of bad sometimes comes good. And I think what people are going to see in this new restaurant, made from scratch food, locally sourced, really unique cocktails, a twist on football and sport, much more engaging environment. It's a big space, and we have the ability to do a lot of private events. We weren't doing hardly any private events in there. We were getting requests. I think we're gearing up, and the team in there is excited about the new food. We have a really unique brunch, bottomless mimosas, hanging bacon flights, things that are Snapchat, Instagrammable worthy photos, but just high quality food at reasonable prices for people to come and enjoy. And we're going to kick it off this week with dinner, and then we'll add brunch over the weekend. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll add the lunch menu. And I can tell you, I've seen the menus. We have them on their website now, gridirongastropub.com. And you should go on and look and sign up, because not only are we going to do great food, we're going to create a great environment. We have the NFL ticket in there now. We're actually letting the games be heard. That wasn't happening before. You just sat there and watched them statically. So we're trying to create an environment that's welcoming and engaging. We're going to have special nights. We're going to try to make this the hottest tailgate bar for happy hours and special theme nights and things like that people can count on and come to. We just hosted a boo brunch in there this weekend, and it did really, really well up on our second floor. So I think people are going to see a really cool restaurant with great food, but they're also going to see a whole new level of engaging activation.
That's fun. People like that. They're always looking for somewhere new, and something different. Tell me about Jumpstart. That's going to fill the Constellation Center, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, we started this with Ray Leach, great guy, great friend. He's since moved on to the Ohio Fund. We started this about a year ago. It was very important to me and to our team. I think we want to create an environment here of collaboration and innovation. Jumpstart is exactly that, right? Investing in entrepreneurs. We're kind of entrepreneurs ourselves, starting up, fighting, and finding the right business model. I think they're going to offer advice. They're going to look, this building, everybody who lives in this building now, all the tenants, there's no better office space, I would say, in Ohio. I'm biased, but I'm going to tell you, looking into a professional football stadium, looking out onto Play Action Plaza with rides, looking over at our dome, all the amenities, restaurants, games, things that you can do when you're doing business here. I think Jumpstart's going to be a great addition, great partner. Our community has rallied around it as well. And it gives people here in this region a chance to get advice on how to build and how to grow a company or a business. What does that do? It helps create jobs. It helps create new businesses that we can be known for in this region. And I'm excited about what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
Well, I mean, the list of events continues to grow. We have a high school showcase that's coming up here with some of the best high school teams around. Obviously, the state high school football championships. Yeah. We've got multiple massive events out at our sports complex. Certainly the Winter Blitz, which we haven't really announced all the pieces of yet, but I will say this, we want to become this glowing beacon of holiday lighting here, and we want to have fun and engaging things for our kids and our families and our residents around to do. We're going to leverage Gridiron. We're going to do the Grinch brunch and the naughty nice, right? If you want to be naughty, you come to the Grinch brunch, and if you want to be nice, you come to the Santa brunch. which we're excited about. So lots of new activations around property. We're talking to, and we've actually signed LOIs with a couple of new tenants in our retail footprint, our fan engagement zone, that I think will bring some new concept, new food, new concept there. And, we're just looking to get better at what we do. What I always refer to as stabilizing. You learn how to run the business better, season after season. When you've gone through a couple of cycles, that's where we're getting to now. And that's why we're narrowing in on profitability. I mean, several assets we own, boy, the Hilton DoubleTree downtown Canton, if you haven't been to that asset, that team, they kill it. The food and beverage is fantastic. The meeting space, the banquet space, we do a phenomenal job in there. The rooms, the actual facility itself is just one of a kind. So proud that is a part of our family, and I'm looking forward to recreating that in a different way on property here at the Village. But we just look for ways to partner with the Hall of Fame and do more things. One of the things I'm excited about is we're going to implement this campus-wide operating system. What does that mean? Well, it's a new technology that will allow our guests to book more experiences before they ever even arrive, right? If you travel today and you book a flight, the first thing it says is, do you need a car? Do you need a hotel room? We haven't gotten there yet, but we want to make sure people have the ability to maneuver themselves around the property and have the chance to experience all the great things that we have to offer. So we're investing in technology as well. And so lots of things like that. Wrestling tournaments over in the Dome and, other bigger events that we're going to be having. This is a place that's really growing, and we've got some exciting announcements ahead.
Yeah, and it's nice. I come over a lot when I have family come from out of town, and they always enjoy going over, get a bite to eat and walking around, and the ability to go into a store and look around and, just check everything out is always a fun thing, or go to an event. So that's always, something that's, we love having, the ability to do. Plus the hotel is walking distance from the radio station. We're just a block away.
Yeah, that's right.
So go down the street and, have lunch. So it works out great, but
it's an integrated experience when you get here. You can park and then forget about, okay, do I have to get back in my car to drive to go to a lunch or a dinner, to then go to shop, to then go to the concert, to then once you're here, you're here. And we're trying to make it much more seamless. We're thinking about introducing some things where, you can buy early entrance into events and you can have access to the concessions earlier, and you don't have to fight the crowds, and special areas for bigger events. We have the two largest televisions in this region, period. The jumbotrons that we have. And so I've challenged the team to come up with great watch parties. And we tested that out a little bit with the Guardians and one of the college football games a few weeks ago. We're going to do more of that, open up the stadium, come on in, have a great time, and watch on the two biggest TVs you're ever going to watch on the games, and just have fun and enjoy. So leveraging our assets more and being more creative is a focus of ours coming to the end of this year and then into next year. I think next year we've got a lot of big ideas that we want to execute on.
And I think the other thing people say is signage. Where do they park for the restaurants and things like that? They want good signage.
Yeah. And I will tell you that one of the things we're learning, and we're getting ready to make I think an enhancement. There's parking right behind where you go to eat, or where you go to Heggy's or Build-A-Bear or Cuddle. But people don't get that you have to walk around the ends. We're going to blow right through the center of that building and make a nice little entrance so that when you park there, it's very easy to just enter and come into the facility. That should be coming very shortly. Look, we listen to our guests and we make enhancements to the property. So more signage, what's open, how can I park, where do I park, how can I get from experience to experience. That's been a big focus. And if you've been on campus, we added all of these wayfinding stickers on the ground that
Yeah.
sort of show you, at every intersection where things are at, and people are having fun with that too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great. Lots of good stuff. And I really do appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to do this more often. How about that?
I would love to. I want to, as I said earlier, I want to clear up some of this misperception, and some of this, oh my gosh, it must be bad because the stock price is bad. There is a ton of great going on out here, and the impact on the community and what we're doing, I think, will last a lifetime and only continue to grow. We're still thinking about phase 3. We're still thinking about maybe a new ride. We're still thinking about that water park, and when it opens next year, the impact it's going to have and the pride we're going to have as a community I hope is already there. It's only going to continue to get better and get stronger.
Yeah, you don't want people to lose faith. That's as soon as something happens that's a setback, it tends to have people say, oh, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to happen.
Unfortunately, that's the way it's that clickbait. You refer to it as negative clickbait. Everybody loves to click on the negative. Just be positive. Have a positive outlook. I mean, take pride in what we're already doing. And if you do that and support it, more great things to come.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I'm going to hold you to it. We'll be in touch.
Pam, you got to get out here this week. We open up Gridiron, so you got to come out and experience it.
I do. Absolutely.
Talk about what you think after the fact.
I will. Sounds good.
Great.
Thank you, sir. You have a great one.
Thanks. You too. Have a great day.
Purchase a twin tank water softener from Verndale Water Experts and you'll get